Fresh from averting a trade war with Canada and Mexico, Donald Trump walked straight into another, this time with America's biggest foe, China.
If we can't make a deal with China, then the tariffs will be very, very substantial.
Perhaps Trump had hoped to cut a deal before the midnight deadline last night, when he warned the US would impose a 10% tariff on all Chinese imports to punish Beijing for not doing enough to stem the flow of drugs into the US. But the deadline passed, the tariffs kicked in, and China immediately retaliated. China is hoping to hit Trump where it hurts, but perhaps not too much. So 15% tariffs will be levied on US imports of coal and gas, with 10% on oil, farm equipment and cars. In addition, there'll be export controls on more than 20 tech-critical rare metals, an anti-monopoly probe into Google, and 2 US companies labelled unreliable entities, including the parent group of Calvin Klein and Tommy Hilfiger. But analysts calculate the tariffs will hit just $20 billion worth of US imports, compared to $450 billion on all Chinese goods targeted by Trump. So these look more like warning moves than dramatic retaliation. Another day, another chaotic start in Trump's new America. It's likely this trade war with China is just posturing. Kick it off to show you mean business and then hope to reach a deal, just as Trump did over border security with Canada and Mexico. Meanwhile, very real, tangible change is happening right here in the heart of Washington, D.C., as Donald Trump has given his billionaire partner, Elon Musk, apparent carte blanche to dismantle the U.S. federal government as we know it. Yesterday, it was U.S. foreign aid, with warnings that the Environmental Protection Agency and the Department of Education are next on Musk's chopping block. But a trade war between the world's 2 biggest economies is a worry for everyone, not least China, which is suffering sluggish growth at home and needs to keep exports up. Hence rare conciliatory language from Beijing today.
The world is entering a very turbulent period. So as 2 biggest countries, we don't need to fight each other. We need to work together. There is no winner in a trade war.
There certainly wasn't the last time the two slapped tariffs on each other during Trump's first term. They eventually settled their dispute, but at great economic cost to both sides. That dispute was about unfair trading practices. This one ostensibly about China not doing enough to crack down on the flow of components used to make the drug fentanyl that comes across the border and kills tens of thousands of people in the United States.
We don't want fentanyl coming into our country.
China's tariffs against the US are due to take effect at the start of next week, so in theory there's still plenty of time for the two to reach a deal. Then, no doubt, Trump will move to his next tariff target, the EU, where threats of retaliation are already coming thick and fast. Well, the blitz of announcements and rumours of announcements continues here in Washington, all part of Donald Trump's plan to flood the zone and make it difficult to focus on any one thing. Today on the list coming out of the White House there behind me, America will send the first group of what they're calling illegal migrants on planes to Guantanamo Bay to be held in detention centres there. A controversial decision given the history of the place, but they nonetheless say that they are ploughing on and plan to house as many as 30,000 what they are calling high priority migrants with criminal records there. Meanwhile, Elon Musk continues to create havoc with his dramatic cuts to spending and shuttering government departments, just like he did with Twitter, only this is the actual US government. It's left the Democrats reeling and criticizing, saying that Elon Musk, of course, is neither elected nor vetted by anyone other than Donald Trump himself. And then later coming up, the big meeting here behind me between Donald Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel, the first foreign leader to visit the White House here. Now, the two have a rocky relationship, but it's certainly better than the relationship that Netanyahu had with Joe Biden. But that relationship will be tested today as the two sit down to discuss the next phase of the peace process in Gaza that will, of course, involve Israel withdrawing its troops entirely and the return of the remaining hostages. Now, Trump, of course, wants to claim a big win in Gaza, given his role for bringing Hamas to the table. He wants that fragile peace very much to hold, but even he admitted yesterday that he has no guarantees that it will.